Welcome to my full masterclass on the art of trance production. We're going to be talking about how to make all the elements, the drums, the sounds, even how to arrange a track using this full template here. This template is available in my Modern Trance Toolkit, which is at the top of the description. And I got a discount code for YouTube people only. This has everything you need to make trance music, so definitely check it out. Thanks for the support, guys. And let's get started. Alright, so for trance music, first off, your BPM is probably going to be anywhere between like 135 up to maybe 165 at the fastest. And I think you always got to start with a chord progression, which you can hear mostly in the bass. Right, this is usually where your chord progression happens. If you listen to the whole track, this usually holds it down, and that's kind of where like the real art of trance comes in, right? Is like using this percussive bass as your chord progression. Now the chord progression here, we're in the key of G sharp minor, so we're going G sharp minor, E major, so we're going root to major sixth or minor sixth in this key, then to the third, the fourth, and then back down. The other thing here is you notice how quickly the chords change. Right, like this is not a long held out chord progression. This is something where it's just kind of constantly moving, and that adds to a lot of the energy of the track. So once you get your chord progression, usually then you're going to want to write a lead line over top of that. Now, you get a lot of this like melancholic sort of sound in these trance tracks, and I think the way that you can really do that is using these voices. Like in this case, we're in G sharp minor. These half step kind of changes like that, right? So in this case, it's the second and the third. Right, and we have it up here as well. Like, there's a lot of melancholy in that half step between those two. And then also with this lead line is notice how much rhythm there is. Again, like everything here has to have some rhythm to it, right? Then we move up and we've actually got a pad. Now the cool thing with the pad, as you can see, it's not fully following the chord progression. Everything is still in key with this, but you can kind of like play over the chord progression and add some more like interesting stuff to the track. So here I'm building this one in the same key, right? Like it starts on the G sharp still, but it's not exactly following the chord progression, right? Right, and as far as sound design, all of this stuff is usually pretty simple as well. Like, it comes down to just a lot of, like on the bass, we have a saw wave and a square wave together, right? We're using this, so there's no FM going on there. You know, the lead is our classic super saw. Where I've layered in this sine wave here. A little bit of delay and reverb. It's really not that complicated. You'll notice there is a lot of automation though, especially through the full track. Like you have this low pass filter here that just opens up and closes, and that is also a lot of what keeps the track moving, right? You can see on the pad there's one as well inside of the synth, and that can really contribute to the energy of the track. Now you'll also notice that the bass does not usually do this, right? So you're going to keep the bass just the same sound the whole time, but like these leads and these pads, this ARP that we have here, which basically follows the same chord progression, you know, that's got a bit of automation as well. You know, trance tracks are very like repetitive, but there's a lot of automation which keeps it going. So then we can start to move up to the drums once you have your main kind of like writing out of the way in the track, right? So you can see it's pretty simple here. consider the bass part of the drums, right? I'd say always start with a kick. Like this fat 909 here can get you very far. The only processing is just a little bit of a subcut, but what you can do to make your kick cut through the mix is a really good trick, is you take a rim shot, like this one from the 909. You can see I high passed it a little bit, and you layer it over the kick, so your kick goes from this to this. Right, and it makes it kind of crack through the whole mix there. Then we have what I call the main drums, like the hi-hat and clap, right, that you're always going to have in these kind of tracks. Again, if you get this and the kick and the bass right, the whole track will come together. The percussion, it can be as simple or as complicated as you want. So here I've got like a shaker. I got some of these 808 sounds like you hear in a lot of the like DJ Heartstring tracks. We have these where you can see they're pretty reverbed out and they just hit on like some of the hi-hats. Like if I play it with the main hi-hat. Right, and it kind of gives you some cool wispy stuff in the background, and then also cool background stuff is I have this operator. So what this is doing is you can see it's playing pretty much steady 16th notes in here. And we start with this operator patch, which is going to sound like this. The way you get this is you get white noise, and it's just a really short envelope on there. There's a bandpass filter with a hard shaper, so it's like really punchy, and there's even like a bit of an envelope on that. So you have like a tight, punchy sound. And then we have this LFO on the filter frequency. So you can see it's on sample and hold, which basically means like random LFO. So it's constantly moving around. If you turn that off, right, it's just the same thing. So that's how you kind of give it some variation. And then we got some distortion, which really brings out the percussiveness. And then the spectral time, you can hear it's kind of creating some background percussion, as well as this filter delay is doing the same. And then we high pass it, so it's kind of like really clean and just in the high end, right? You don't want a lot to get in the way of your pad and your lead and stuff like that. So you want to make sure this is like up in the high end only. And then we got this auto pan to kind of make it bounce off the kick. Cool. So the next thing that's important to talk about is arrangement, because if you look at this, there's really not that many elements, but you can do a lot of arrangement with very little, especially in these more like modern trance tracks, right? So usually your arrangement's going to look like this. You're basically going to have one big part over here with all the drums. And you know, it's really building up. Like even though, you know, like the pad doesn't even go all the way up yet. Also notice like this second arp here. This is only in this beginning and then in the outro there. So you're going to have like certain things that only happen over here. And then things start to drop out. Like we're taking away some percussion. You know, the lead gets filtered down. And then you go into your break. Now notice that this arp is really mostly happening here. Like you literally haven't heard that until this part where the energy's kind of dropping down. And then the lead also starts filtering in. You can slowly bring in some percussion as well, like just the clap goes a long way. And you also notice you don't need that much effects. Like I hear people's tracks sometimes when they send in for feedback on the stream, and they just have like way too much like sweeps and risers, and you know, this isn't 2014 Spinning Records EDM. Like this is a lot deeper and just more simple. So like, you know, I really only have this little snare. And the crash, and it's not even like it's going for so long either. Like sometimes people do it like through that whole part or whatever. It's just a little 4-bar thing over here at the end just to kind of carry us over the edge there. Right, and then when we get here, okay, the lead's all the way filtered up, the pad's coming in. Now this is a good trick with arrangement too, is that notice the pad's not all the way open here. So then when you get over here and the filter's open on that, you like actually have somewhere to kind of go. You know, like a lot of times people want to do just, oh, it's the main drop, let's just have it all the way open. But it's kind of cooler if you leave space where this can open up a bit more. Also, the vocals help too. So we basically have these two vocal samples that just go repeatedly through the track. But notice, like, it's very carefully structured, right? Like, there's a lot of space between when you hear them. And even, like, there's some spots where there's more space. Like, over here, when we're trying to drop out the energy, I got rid of the vocals there to really, like, you know what I'm saying? And then as you're in this break, the vocals can do a lot of heavy lifting once you get here. But notice they get more sparse as you get to the outro. And then you're going to have your outro. So you notice all the synths have pretty much filtered down by this point. Right, the pad starts disappearing. This little art comes back to give us a bit of ear candy in the outro, right? But really, we're trying to like drop the energy a lot. Another thing too is on outros, a lot of times this is where you'll stop having the bass play the chord progression. And in the intro too, you can just have it play the first note. And then we kind of have this little part. You don't have to do this, but it does sound cool if you just give it like a little chill part at the end like that. And that is how to make a full trance track. If you follow what's in this video, you really can't go wrong. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more of these full masterclasses in the comments below. You can get the Modern Trance Toolkit, which includes this template as well as a whole bunch more, like everything you need to make trance. Plus, I got a little discount code for you guys just on YouTube. Limited time only, so get it while it's available. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.